Food contamination, a global challenge that causes 600 million people to fall ill and 42,000 to die every year. The spoiled and inconsumable substances in food are generally known as food contaminants. They can be classified into biological like bacteria, physical like matter, and chemical like pesticide in nature.
Food contamination can lead to abdominal pain, vomiting, and death in severe cases. WHO has stated that food contamination that occurs in a place may affect the health of consumers living on the other side of the planet. Let's take an insight into some of the food poisoning events.
Good day everyone, welcome to PHA News Today. I'm your host, Sedman.
I'm Eve. Right now, we'll be transitioning to our correspondent, Kali, who is ready to provide us footage from the scene.
Good evening everyone, welcome to tonight's special report on food contamination and our road of exposure. I'm Kali, bringing you the latest development in food safety. Let's go! Our first concern tonight is the presence of melamine and cyanuric acid in milk products. Melamine, a synthetic compound, have been illegally added into milk products. Meanwhile, cyanuric acid, another chemical compound, when combined, these two products can form crystal in urinary tract, leading to the severe kidney failure. And the primary route of exposure to melamine and cyanuric acid in milk product is through injections. This can occur due to the addition of melamine to milk to falsely increase the protein content and through contamination of milk with cyanuric acid from the contaminated water or processing equipment. Another concerning contaminant is acid sulfate potassium, a low-calorie ethanol found in sugar-free beverages and food. The primary route of exposure to the acid sulfate potassium is through injections. Studies have shown that it may reduce the diversity of gut microbiome and impair the sugar metabolisms. Lastly, we have delta-metrin, a pesticide commonly used in tomato cultivation. The route of exposure of delta-metrin, including injection of fresh tomato without proper washing, processed tomato product containing pesticide residue. Furthermore, inhalation of pesticide residue in occupation setting and dermal exposure of residue on the tomato surface. That's all of today. Stay tuned for the further updates on food safety issues. Thank you!
First story of today is melamine, a chemical compound that causes kidney and urinary tract disease were added into a milk powder to artificially boost the protein level by the Chinese milk supplier back in 2008. This incident came to public attention after a sudden increase in the number of infants and children in hospital due to kidney issues. Officially announced by the Chinese government, approximately 290,000 infants and children were affected, and at least 6 people had died in this incident. The incident was not limited to China. Similar concerns had previously arisen in other countries. Previously, Korea and the US had occurred pet food contamination due to the addition of melamine.
Another chemical, cyanuric acid, was also found in some contaminated milk. It is a hydrolyzation product of melamine under specific conditions. Cyanuric acid is used solely as a disinfectant of swimming pool water and has a negligible low toxicity. However, in the presence of melamine, the combination is particularly hazardous even in small amounts. Now, onto the second news of the day. In 1999, 500 tons of recycled fats used to produce animal feeds was contaminated by polychlorinated bisphenol oil, which contains dioxin in Belgium. This dioxin incident directly results in poultry poisoning and subsequently toxic effects to the human population. An increase in cancer, neurotoxic, and behavioral effects in units were expected to occur but cannot be quantified. Moreover, dioxin can cause skin lesions and also lead to immune and nervous system impairment. Following that, we will be joined by Professor Joshua and Braden, who will offer their expertise on the impact of melamine on our organs and their distribution around our human body.
For melamine, it can target various types of organs. The kidneys and urinary tract are the primary targets of melamine in humans, since melamine is primarily excreted by the kidneys. Hence, it tends to accumulate there and the concentration of melamine will be high in the kidneys. In acidic conditions, melamine would undergo hydrolysis to form cyanuric acid. The melamine can then form insoluble crystals with cyanuric acid, which is called melamine cyanurate crystals. These crystals obstruct the kidney, leading to tubular damage and subsequently chronic inflammation due to the release of inflammatory mediators. Inflammatory mediators would then activate NOx to increase the production of reactive oxygen species, causing chronic kidney inflammation. These crystals could also accumulate in the urinary tract, leading to the obstruction and damage of the urinary tract. Additionally, the cyanuric acids would chelate the liver enzymes, which causes the accumulation of hepatic granules, leading to the inflammation of the impairment of the liver. As for the spleen, melamine crystals may accumulate in the spleen, which could cause vascular obstruction and hemorrhage.
I see. Are there any more target organs?
Yes, although not well documented, melamine is known to accumulate in the testes, causing cellular changes. It is known to thicken the seminiferous tubules and degenerate the testicular tissue, causing spermatogenesis abnormalities. This causes the production of fragmented sperm, leading to infertility.
I've gotten the picture. Now what's the toxicokinetic profile of melamine?
Of course, the route of exposure for melamine includes oral and inhalation, but oral plays a major role. Melamine is absorbed primarily in intestines, none in stomach, achieving maximum plasma concentration within an hour. Being a low molecular weight and polar molecule, melamine is predominantly restricted to blood and is not extensively distributed to organ tissues due to tight bond to plasma proteins. Upon absorption, plasma and liver melamine achieves equilibrium, but the levels skyrocket up to 3-fold in the kidneys around 4 hours in due to renal accumulation for excretion. There is no metabolism involved for melamine, its excretion is intact, thus the primary route of excretion is urine, accounting up to 97%. Additionally, cyanuric acid is actually an intermediate to melamine, hence possessing similar ADME. The route of exposure for cyanuric acid includes oral and dermal, with most of the cyanuric acid absorbed orally in the GI tract. It also tends to stay in the central compartments such as blood, liver, and kidneys. Like melamine, it is not metabolized at all, and up to 98% is excreted primarily in urine.
Alright, I've got a clear understanding. Now what about dioxin?
For dioxin, it primarily targets the liver. The main culprit for dioxin toxicity includes the AHR, which is also the dioxin receptor. Upon entry of dioxin, it will bind to the AHR receptor in the target tissues, causing conformational changes and allowing it to translocate into the nucleus. AHR forms a complex with the proteins such as ARNT nuclear translocator. The complex acts as a transcription factor and binds to specific DNA sequences. This will trigger the transcription of various types of genes that regulate different pathways like the xenobiotic metabolism pathways. The most important AHR regulated pathway is the cytochrome P450 enzyme system, primarily in the liver. They are responsible for dioxin metabolization, which converts them into reactive metabolites as well as generating ROS. This would cause oxidative stress, which damages the hepatocytes. AHR would also initiate the release of inflammatory mediators that may further aggravate the injury, causing fibrosis at chronic stage. Ultimately, this will lead to liver damage and dysfunction, impairing the liver's ability to perform essential metabolic and detoxification functions. Moreover, the AHR activation may also cause lipid accumulation, as it also alters the genes that express lipid metabolism. The dysregulation of lipid synthesis may lead to non-alcoholic liver disease. Furthermore, ROS-induced DNA damage of liver cells and fibrosis increases the risk of malignant transformation, which also lead to hepatocarcinoma. On top of that, dioxin could also affect skin, causing numerous skin diseases such as chloracne. This involves similar activation of AHR receptor, which would activate the CYP450 enzymes in the keratinocytes. Moreover, AHR is able to induce downstream target genes, including COX-2, to promote apoptotic signals and survival of initiated keratinocytes. This would stimulate metaplasia and hyperkeratinization. On top of that, the AHR activation may also lead to the increment of inflammatory mediators to the site, which causes the inflammation to the skin.
I've gathered the details. Now, are there any clinical features for this dioxin-mediated skin toxicity?
Of course, there will be the formation of comedones and the development of acne-like lesions, which is the characteristic of chloracne. Finally, dioxin is also known to be an endocrine disruptor. This also applies the same AHR-driven transcriptional regulation principle. It may affect the thyroid glands, reproductive glands, and adrenal glands, and etc. Upon AHR activation, it will lead to the alteration of hormone synthesis, secretion signaling, and metabolism due to the disruption of the expression in genes. This may lead to the complications such as hypo and hyperthyroidism and reproductive dysfunction, or the disruption of lactation process due to the alteration of sex hormones, especially estrogen. That is all from me.
I've comprehended the message. Well, Professor, what is the ADME for dioxin?
The routes of exposure include inhalation, oral, and dermal, three of them being very significant. For inhalation, 95% relative pulmonary bioavailability can be recorded following intratracheal application. Oral ingestion of dioxins can measure up to 87% absorption by GI tract. Dermal is also very significant due to high lipid solubility of dioxin, allowing penetration through the lipophilic compartments of the stratum corneum. Dioxins are extensively distributed to organ tissues, especially peripheral compartments, due to its extreme lipophilicity. Hence, it can accumulate in the liver, but mostly up to 90% resides in the adipose tissue, where hepatic only occupies 1/10 of the total volume. Liver and adipose tissue serves as major storage depots, followed by skin and muscle. The metabolism of dioxin in humans is actually unknown, where however in animals, dioxins undergo phase 1 biotransformation, which includes oxidation and reductive dechlorination, followed by conjugation reactions to add polar groups for excretion. Metabolites include 1-hydroxy-2378 tetrachlorodibenzoldioxins and 8-hydroxy-237 trichlorodibenzoldioxins. Surprisingly, the major route of dioxin excretion is fecal, which utilizes excretion through bile due to its lipophilicity. Kidney excretion is minimal, as its low water solubility facilitates passive tubular reabsorption in the kidneys.
Now that we have gained understanding on the effects of melamine and dioxin on our body, the pressing questions arises. Are melamine and dioxin still circulating on the market?
To address this crucial inquiry, we have a lawyer on the line, Ms. Wong, to provide legal insights on the regulatory landscape of melamine and dioxin.
Directly adding melamine to human food or animal feeds is illegal. The WHO, ESFA, and FDA has set a tolerable daily intake for melamine and cinnamonic acid at 0.2 mg per kg and 1.5 mg per kg of body weight respectively. Additionally, maximum residual limits have been established. In the EU, melamine in milk and dairy products should not exceed 2.5 mg per kg of food, but the FDA set a stricter limit of 0.5 mg per kg of food. According to the FDA, infant formula must be free of melamine. In Malaysia, infant formula and food for infant and young children should not contain more than 1 mg per kg of melamine, and other food should not exceed 2.5 mg per kg of food. Non-compliance may result in penalties such as fine, recall, or criminal charge. Dioxins are classified as Group 1 carcinogen by the IARC and they cannot safe exposure level. The WHO has set a TDI range of 1 to 4 pg WHOT per kg of body weight per day. A code of practice was established in 2006 to reduce dioxin contamination in food and feed. Malaysian Environmental Quality Regulation 2040 stipulates that dioxin emission cannot exceed 0.1 nanogram TEQ per cubic meter. While not directly regulated in Malaysian food law, the European Council set maximal level for dioxin in various food products. Here are some examples, and failure to comply with safety standard may result in fine or imprisonment.
Next, we were joined by Yikai and Tong Sing, researchers specializing in food chemicals. Together, they will elucidate the adverse effects of melamine and dioxin on both humans and the environment.
In the world of food safety, melamine and cyanuric acid pose significant risks. Melamine, commonly found in plastic and fertilizer, can inadvertently find its way into food products. When ingested, it can wreak havoc on the body, leading to renal failure. While chronic exposure may result in urinary stone and even pose risk to reproductive health. There was one incident happened in 2008 where melamine-contaminated baby formula, Seton thousands, served as a stark reminder of its dangers. Meanwhile, cyanuric acid, classified as a drinking water pollutant by the EPA, damage kidney tissues and can cause respiratory irritation. But perhaps most worryingly, when these two compounds combine, their toxicity increases exponentially, forming crystals in the kidneys that can cause severe damage and potential death. Therefore, recognizing clinical symptoms such as vomiting, lethargy, and abnormal urinary sediment is critical to identifying the dangers of these deadly combinations. Now let's talk about dioxin. Exposure to dioxin disrupts hormones, impacting testosterone, thyroid hormone, and metabolism. Studies have shown that it leads to developmental toxicity, reproductive issues, and compromised immune function. Men exposed during youth show reduced sperm count and mortality, while exposure during adolescence exhibited increased sperm count and mortality. Understanding the toxicity of melamine, cyanuric acid, and dioxin exposure is vital for effective regulation and remediation in the world of food safety.
Today marks a critical point in our fight against environmental pollution. The threats we face are not just visible but often invisible, lurking into the water we cherish, the air we breathe, and the soil that nourishes us. Cyanuric acid used extensively in various industries and processed in aquatic environments. It's not highly toxic on its own to fishes and invertebrates. However, it combines with melamine to form deadly crystals impacting aquatic life and creeping into our food chain. Melamine leaches into water bodies, further amplifying the toxicity and poses significant health risks due to bioaccumulation. Dioxin settles into soils, disrupting the delicate balance of terrestrial ecosystems. They enter the terrestrial food web, affecting soil health and fertility, underscoring the challenges we face in remedying soil pollution. Origins of dioxin in combustion processes brings to light the issue of air pollution and settles back down into our water and soil, amplifies the cyclic nature of pollution. Controlling emissions at the source is crucial, highlighting the need for improved combustion technologies and stringent waste management practices.
As we conclude today's broadcast, we would like to remind you to be vigilant in selecting safe food sources. Should any intoxication symptoms arise, seeking medical advice is imperative.
We extend our gratitude to all our viewers tuning in. Have a wonderful day ahead.
Thank you.